The goal today is to take information I'm providing you and come up with the formulas for it. Now, yesterday we came up with those linear equations. We talked about them. I want to go through that list one more time. So for the linear equations, the different forms of them. Okay, I'm just going to put them on the board. The forms. Okay, number one, we talked about slope-intercept. That'll be my number one today. Slope-intercept form. Now, if you don't remember what that one was, it's y equals mx plus b. This is going to be the go-to. If we can rearrange the equation into that form where you get y by itself, you can rattle off what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Because the slope is obviously the m, the y-intercept is the b number in the back, the letter in the back, okay, or number. All you have to do is, on some of the problems, they just ask what are the two parts, and you move on, you don't have to grasp anything. So I'll go through a couple of those. Those are like the last two types of problems you're going to have. The first type of problem, though, is where you have to come up with an equation given data. So number two is point slope form. And this is my other go-to form, point slope form. Now that form is y2 minus y1, m x2 minus x1. That's the other go-to. It's like the easiest one to rearrange. And then the other ones, obviously, we talked about what? Standard, general, and the special cases, which we still have to talk about today. I said we're going to worry about those today. So, but these are going to be like the go-to. Like they're the ones that we're probably going to spend the most time on today. You will get homework today. In fact, it's on the board. It's that red number 7 here, 4 through 13. These are ones we're going to do. I just ask that you don't work on it right now. I still want to walk through it. Yeah. So, okay, these are going to be, that's our assignment. It's due Friday. So it's kind of a short turnaround. You're going to get today to work on it, and you'll get a little bit of time tomorrow to work on it, because I do want to go through a couple freebies just to make sure you know what you're doing tomorrow. But yeah, so that's the new assignment. Now, what else do we do have on? What else do we have due on Friday? Book covers. Book cover on Friday. We still have book covers due. I know some of you had book covers. It's great. If you removed it, you have to get a new book cover on. It could be like a family food bag where you've modified it into a book cover, or it could be like one of those stretchy sacky things or something really cool I don't even know about yet. But just make sure that you're getting a book cover by Friday. I think I sent out a Google Classroom reminder last night. I will also send out a reminder tonight about this page 7 and the book cover again. I know it gets tedious, but it's nice to know when due dates are. So, again, these are my go-to. Now, the other ones that we're going to talk about are like standard form. So number 3 is standard. There's going to be a couple problems that will start in standard. I don't know if any others, I think there's only a few that start in standard, but that is ax plus by equals c, where the a, b, and c are just numbers. So you might have to rearrange. Typically on these problems, they're going to just have you rearrange to one of these other two. So they just want you to go back. Other than standard could be general. I don't know if we even talked about general yesterday. General form from yesterday is where you basically have standard, but you move the c over and you leave a 0 on the other side. That's general. You just have a 0 on the one side. And then obviously number 5 today is it's going to be those special cases which we have to focus on today. Now, I've kind of split the first section into 2 parts. This is the first part, right? Just talking about lines. Eventually, we got to talk about domains and ranges and stuff, and that's going to be the stuff we're going to probably start either tomorrow or Friday. So I'm trying to take it slow. I don't want to rush through stuff, but I just want to make sure that you're comfortable and that you remember how to do certain things. So let's start with the first one. I'm basically going to walk through homework problems, just so you're aware. I'm going to do examples, not exact problems from your homework, but things that look like it. So for instance, the first type of problem you're going to have, I think you're going to have 5 of these, I'm pretty sure. So the first example, they're going to give you 2 coordinates, 1, 6 and 4, 2. Could be something like that. And it says find the equation for this that represents this line. Right? Find the equation for this line. So there is 2 ways you can do it. You could go to slope-intercept or you can go to point slope. When they give you data like that, this is the one you want to go to. You want to find slope and you want to use one of the points that was provided to you. And this is the form that I want to go to. That's going to be your first 5 problems in your homework. It's just the easiest. If you need to get to another form, like one of these or one of these, right? You just rearrange this one to get to whatever you need to. That's why it's my go-to. Okay, so the first thing, we got to find slope. How do we find slope? What do we do? What do you remember? It's been a while.
Plot it.
X is over.
We could plot, but I heard something, what?
X is over the X's, Y is over the Y's.
Not quite. There's some things in there that you had, right? It's going to be a fraction, I can tell you that. So something over something.
Is the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus?
Yeah, there you go. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So you had the idea of like x and y's, just got to get them in the right order. Y's have to be on the top. This is how you find slope. I need this number. It will be a fraction. Leave it a fraction. Don't do anything with it. Leave it a fraction. So what I mean by y1 and y2, when you look at the coordinates, these are written in alphabetical order. That's why it's called an ordered pair, right? An ordered pair is they're in alphabetical order, x and y. The other one is x and y. So all you do is you just pick the y's and you subtract them. I don't care the order you subtract them, but you have to stick with that. So for me, when I looked at this problem, I'm gonna go this y minus that y. I just pick that order. So I'm gonna go 6 minus 2. Then on the bottom, I'm gonna go the x minus x, but you have to go in the same order. So I went front minus back, so I'm going 1 minus 4. Does that make sense? Front minus back. I don't care the order. If you want to go back minus front, maybe that's the way you saw it, fine and dandy. But whatever this turns out to be, leave it a fraction. Don't change it. So what's my fraction going to end up being on this one? Is that 4 over negative 3? That's my fraction. Leave it, 4 over negative 3, so be it. That's my slope. It's going down 4 over 3. That's because you can move the negative sign wherever you want. So it's dropping 4, running 3. That's my slope. So when I go to point slope form, that's my m. That goes right here. I don't need to do anything with it. You're just going to plug the m there. So here's I'm going to my final answer. Y minus y. My slope, what's my m? 4 over negative 3. X minus x. Okay, so almost there. So I plugged in my slope. That was my m. That was my m. Now, what you have to do is pick one of the two coordinates. Because again, it's a point, so we have to pick one of the points, and we already have slope. So pick one of the 2 points right there. Which one do you like?
1 and 6.
1 and 6. Okay. You get to pick this. You just pick one of the 2. You don't get to make up your own. You have to pick one of the 2 that they provided you. So we've already picked my slope. So now the point that I'm picking is I'm using 1 and 6. This is my x. This is my y. You're going to plug them into the right spots. They're going to go here and there. That's how it defaultly goes. So the x will go into the x location. So I'm plugging the 1 right here. All right, that's my x number. My y number was a 6. That goes here. And I'm done. There's your answer. Move on to the next problem. You have slope, you have your coordinate plugged in, that's your formula. That represents the line. If you were to type that into like Desmos, it would draw the line that connects those two. You don't have to rearrange anything, you don't have to do anything fancy. It's the go-to form when you have data that you want to graph really fast. Do you have to graph? No. Because if you were to type that into your graph, it would just find 1, 6 and 4, 2. And it would just draw that. That's all it would do. You don't have to graph anything today. Questions? Does that make sense what I just went through? Do you think you can handle 5 of those?
Yeah.
And I don't even care if they have zeros and whatnot in there. Whatever it is. I heard a no. All right. All right, that is your first 5. Now, the next 5 that we have is where they go special cases. So these will be like the next, I don't know if it's necessarily the next 5, but it'll be the next few. But they're going to be special cases where they're going to have you take information like an equation and rearrange it. So it could be any of these. I'm going to call these like the special cases. It's going to show you one of these, and it's going to ask you to go to one of these other forms and read off certain information. So I'm going to give you an example of that here in a second. And then we're going to get to the real special cases. Okay. So the next one. So this is type 2 problems now. 5x plus 3y equals 7. Just making up a problem. They give you an equation. It can be in any form. It could be the messiest thing ever, where you have to distribute and rearrange and all that good stuff. Like it could be ugly. All they're going to want you to do is read off what the slope is. They want to know what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. These are the two things that they're going to ask on these. I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 problems. So what you have to do is rearrange. I'm going to take, because it's one of these 3 forms typically. You're going to take one of these and then you're going to rearrange it to slope-intercept. So how you get to slope-intercept? You want to get the y by itself and everything else on the right side. And you want to get the y so there's no number in front of the y. And then you can read off the information. You can read off your m and you can read off your b number. So on this particular problem, what you have to do is add and subtract first on this problem. What do I need to add and subtract over? 5x. 5x. Subtract it over. Make it a negative, but put it in front. Put it in front of like the number here. So put it right after the equal sign. So 3y, I'm going to move the 5x over, it becomes negative. So it looks like that. This marker's dying. So I moved the 5 over, became negative. The last step is get rid of the number in front of the y. So right now they're multiplying by 3, so I'm going to divide the 3 across. And it goes to everything. Divide by 3, divide by 3. That's what I'm looking for. Because now I can read off what my slope and what my y-intercept is. And yeah, they're not going to be pretty numbers. They don't need to be. We're in calc. They don't need to be nice whole numbers anymore. So what's my slope on this problem?
Negative 5 over 3.
Negative 5 over 3. There's my slope. It's the number in front of x. That's my slope right there. It's my m. My y-intercept, that's the b number in the back. So that's my, what, 7/3? There's that number. Positive 7/3. There you go. Questions, comments, concerns? Whatever the problem is. You might have a problem that looks in point slope form. So you might have to like distribute and then move things around. It's not meant to be difficult. It's just you got to know that you got to get to this form so that you can read off the 2 numbers that they need and know they're not going to have you graph any of them. They just want you to get the information. Now, I did warn you, like there's going to be special cases, right? You're going to have to be prepared if they give you like a horizontal line or a vertical line. We got to be ready for how that works. So that's going to be the next type of problem we're going to talk about. Okay, so I've done 2 problems for you. That's not a lot. Is there any questions on the first one or the second one that you would like to see again? The first one, I gave you coordinates and you had to get to this. The second problem where you have to like rearrange stuff. Okay. It's meant to be kind of straightforward. Maybe not necessarily easy, but not like totally difficult. Okay. The last type of problem they're going to give you is they're going to give you some special things where they're like vertical lines or horizontal lines or slanted lines, and they want you to identify which picture is which. So, like for instance, if I gave you this equation right here, and you had to identify which picture is this. So, this is B, this is C, and this is A.
Okay.
Which picture would represent y equals 5?
C.
C.
I
Why?
thought you were talking about this one.
No. Okay.
I thought you were talking about this one.
No, not this one. Over here.
That doesn't
So,
make sense.
okay. So, let's talk about why is it C? Let's talk about that. Why is this equation right here?
The y-intercept is at 5.
Exactly. That's literally what it just said. You're absolutely right. The y-intercept was at 5. That's the only one that went through 5. This one could have, but it's not a horizontal line. If it just has one variable, it's only hitting that axis only. So this line is only hitting the y-axis. It's not passing through the x. It's horizontal. If this was an x, if this was x equals 5, then it's a vertical line only touching the x-axis. The x-intercepts 5. That's the best way you could have put it. Those are the special cases. Some of the problems will have you identify which line's which, but you don't have to graph any. You're just like, okay, this number 12, that's A. Number 13, this is C. Okay, questions with special cases, because we have to talk about horizontal and vertical. Okay, I'm going to turn you loose on page 7. I know I'm not giving you a lot of time. You're going to get more time tomorrow. I want to give you some time today to work, and then we're going to talk about some freebies tomorrow. Now, on your piece of paper, when you're writing this stuff down, okay, when you're writing this stuff down for your homework, remember, on your paper, I want to see your name on the top of the page. I want to see the date. Today's date is the 25th. And you can just put today's date. You don't need to put the due date. You need to put period 8, and then you need to put the page number. So page 7 for blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. So those are the things I need somewhere at the top of your page. I don't care where, just somewhere at the top. That way I can easily identify it, because I know some of you turn this stuff in randomly during the day. So, but tomorrow we are going to go through a couple freebies. Even if you get it done or finished today, however you want to say it, if you finish it up and you want to turn it in today, I got baskets in the front and the back. You can turn it in, and then tomorrow I'll hand it back to you anyway, and we'll talk about a couple of the freebies, just to make sure maybe I got to clarify something, maybe there's something I didn't really realize it was going to be difficult. We'll go through that. This is due on Friday, so you have plenty of time. I'm trying to give you a lot of time in these classes to work, but there's going to be days where we do a lot of notes. Like this was bare minimum. There's going to be some days I have to talk quite a few days in a row just to make sure you're ready. But these first couple sections I try to do as minimal as possible. Get you in the flow of things here. All right, there you go.